Well, turning now to the eviction crisis. The CDC has issued a new temporary moratorium in COVID-19 hotspots. The previous ban expired over the weekend, sparking major fears that millions of renters could lose their homes in the midst of a public health crisis. The new order will now expire on October 3rd and covers counties experiencing substantial or high levels of COVID spread. Weijia Jiang is at the White House with more.
The amount of public pressure exploded from members of President Biden's own party. Just 24 hours before the CDC made this announcement, the White House insisted there was no legal authority to extend the previous eviction ban. The president even acknowledged that this new measure may not be constitutional and could face challenges in court, but he said it was worth the effort to help millions of Americans. States and local governments will have more time to distribute the more than $46 billion already set aside for renters. The new moratorium will last for 60 days until October 3rd. It will temporarily stop evictions in places with substantial and high levels of COVID-19 transmission, protecting 90% of the country. The CDC cited the intense spread of the Delta variant and how slowly funds were going out to people who needed help to justify the new ban, and warned an uptick in evictions could trigger new spikes in COVID cases. Top Democratic leaders celebrated the measure outside the U.S. Capitol. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who had pressured President Biden to take action, called it a day of extraordinary relief. Now, violating the order could result in fines and even jail time. Vlad and Anne-Marie.
Weijia, thank you very much. So joining our conversation now is Congresswoman Cori Bush. Thank you so much for joining us. This was a very personal fight for you. You slept outside in protest of the moratorium coming to an end. And we know that, it's personal in many ways because you know what it's like not to be housed. You lived under that uncertainty. So we have a bit of a victory here. The moratorium is extended, but it's short term. Which means that, in October, there will be more uncertainty. I know part of what you wanted to do was simply get it extended, keep the protections going for a little bit longer so people can maybe get the aid that they need. But what about a long-term solution? Because come October 3rd, many people are going to find themselves in the very same situation that they found themselves in this past weekend, running out of time, running out of money, and not knowing where to go. So what would a permanent solution look like?
So this has bought Congress some time to see what it is that we need to do. One issue that we have is this $40+ billion that is sitting in those state and those local government coffers that we need to get out to the people. We need to get it out and see where we are, believing that this will help to get people to get the country back on track as far as those that are looking, that are possibly facing evictions. But we need to move that. We need to get that out so that we can see what we still have. And then, we're working on some things, I think it has to be tackled in a number of ways. We have to look at who we have, what the housing crisis looks like already, and tackle that. That's why I introduced a week ago the Unhoused Bill of Rights, to make sure that we have the protections, the human rights, the civil rights protections for those who are unhoused, and how we make sure that we end this crisis of homelessness, of houselessness, by 2025. But then also, moving forward, Congress has to look at what we can do right now to be able to make sure that after October 3rd, that we have exhausted all the money that's in the coffers, so that we can go ahead and work to make sure that the people have a footing coming up by December.
Congresswoman, the moratorium only applies to evictions filed for non-payment of rent. Landlords can still seek evictions for other issues. So I have sort of two-part question here. What options are available to people that are not covered by the new moratorium? And also, what are small or working class landlords to do in the period of this moratorium? Because they are also in dire straits. So there's sort of a two-pronged question there for you.
Right. And so that's why we are asking for volunteers. You know, we have, my office has put it out saying, hey, we need volunteers to show up, you know, come and help with this, with the emergency rental assistance. There are agencies that are trying to get this, get these applications processed. We can't do, like, that's where it bottlenecks. If we can't get the applications processed, if people don't know that they are even eligible for this rental assistance, so making sure that the people are there to be able to help disperse this money, that's how we take care of our small landlords. We have to make sure that that the applications are processed in a timely manner to make sure that they receive the funding. We care about our small landlords. We understand that this is, some of them, this is how, you know, they only make a little off of having these properties. So we understand that. We want to make sure that that they're taken care of.
But how, so can I just ask, Congresswoman, how will you ensure that they're taken care of? Because that is one of the criticisms.
The money is there. The money is there, though. It's $40 billion. We have to, they cannot receive the money. The Treasury has already released the money. If we had a conversation with Secretary Yellen just on yesterday, our caucus did. The money has been released from the Treasury. What we need to do, they cannot receive the money if the applications are not made and processed in due time. When the money is sitting there, we're not fighting for that. So if we can make sure that because that's what's happening. I can speak locally. That's a problem that we have been having. People have been calling saying, I'm trying to get my application done. I'm trying to follow all of these processes. We have to streamline the process, make it easier for people to be able to get the applications done, make it easier for the landlords to be able to get their part done and then disperse. But when it's bottlenecked with the application process, some communities have 45-page like applications. We have to cut that and streamline that. So that's something that in our caucus we have been talking about.
And there are some forbearance programs that are available too. I don't know how much of them is available to landlords, but I think that the forbearance programs are probably mired in the same challenges that the rental assistance programs are mired in. In this case, if you're depending on the banks to let you know about the forbearance options, they may not be as forthcoming. But that's sort of down almost another lane. You heard the president when you were asking him to step in with this moratorium. He sort of pushed back and said, our hands are tied because of a Supreme Court decision. It's just unclear how the Supreme Court will respond to this new moratorium, because it did rule in June that the eviction ban could only be renewed through legislation. The president was asking for Congress to step in. Here's what the president said yesterday when he was asked about the potential legal challenges.
Any call for moratorium based on the Supreme Court recent decision is likely to face obstacles. I've indicated to the CDC I'd like them to look at other alternatives than the one that is in power in existence, which the court has declared they're not going to allow to continue.
So, why hasn't Congress acted? This moratorium, even the president is acknowledging that he doesn't know if it's on, solid legal ground. So isn't it time for Congress to do something?
We are. Congress, we are having conversations. We have had so many conversations on the steps, what we can do. We understand that this victory that we had on yesterday was just a step to kind of stave off what was happening. But we have to now do the work to make sure that that we're not in this position again. So that conversation has already started, and we're just working as a caucus to figure out what the next step is. Because personally, this deadline we knew when this deadline was coming. Yes.
It seems like conversation should have happened maybe a few months ago,
Well, this is the thing, that the conversations were happening. Let me just be clear that we started sending letters. We started doing the work months ago. So conversations started, letters started in January of this year. January, March, May, June, July. Our office, along with Representative Ayanna Pressley, Representative Jimmy Gomez, and so many others, progressives were sending letters saying, hey, we need this extended. And our office was saying we need it not only extended, we need it strengthened. We need to hear from you. Like, we need to get this done. So this work had already started. The thing is, I will speak, and I'm speaking for myself. I was thinking that because we're talking about millions of people being forced out of their homes, that this would not happen, where it could actually happen, that people would not, that the moratorium would not happen. We had expressed repeatedly that this is what we needed to happen. So this didn't just pop up. We weren't just laying down allowing this to happen. No, we were acting in our capacity to try to see this thing happen. But personally, just speaking for me, I did not think that it's unconscionable that this could happen. And so that's how I looked at it.
Congresswoman, before we let you go, let me ask you about something else aside from the moratorium. You faced some criticism in recent weeks over your push to defund the police. Campaign records show that you spent roughly $70,000 on private security, and some critics say that move is hypocritical. What's your response to those critics?
They would rather I die. You would rather me die? Is that what you want to see? You want to see me die? You know, because that could be the alternative. So either I spent $70,000 on private security over the last few months, and I'm here standing now and able to speak, able to help save 11 million people from being evicted, or I could possibly have a death attempt on my life. And we're also talking about the same exact people who say horrible things about me, who lie to build up their base. And then because they lie about me, I receive death threats. Now, they don't address the fact that I receive death threats after they go on air and say horrible things about me. But then they want to say, oh, but she needs private security. I have private security because my body is worth being on this planet right now. I have private security because the white supremacist, racist narrative that they drive into this country, the fact that they don't care that this black woman that has put her life on the line, they can't match my energy, first of all. This black woman who puts her life on the line, they don't care that I could be taken out of here. They actually probably are okay with that. But this is the thing. I won't let them get that off. You can't get that off. I'm going to make sure I have security because I know I have had attempts on my life and I have too much work to do. There are too many people that need help right now for me to allow that. So if I end up spending $200,000, if I spend $10 more on it, you know what? I get to be here to do the work. So suck it up, and defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police and put that money into social safety nets because we're trying to save lives. What other occupation can do work that's out of their scope and still be propped up to do work that's out of their scope? As a nurse, I can't be the surgeon too. You don't want me being your surgeon and I'm the nurse. At what point do we pay police to be social workers? No, we don't. How do they get to be social workers? So what I'm saying is, you do your job. Let the people who have gone to school with a particular skill set do theirs. Neither defunding the police and being able to have security because those same folks are causing it. It's two totally different things. And and this is my last point on this. If I have actual police officers who have threatened my life, tell me about that. Tell me that I don't need security. And let me just say this last thing. My security is not against communal violence. My security is not to keep me safe from the people of St. Louis. My security is to keep me safe from those racist attempts made against my life. Now, if you want to do something about that, stand up and do something about that. I didn't see any of those people that have come against me with this negativity, with these lies, with these smears, stand up when they saw the N-word, when they saw me post stuff about me being hung, the threats on my life, hanging me and burning me, frying me and my family like bacon. They didn't say anything about that. And that was just a piece of what I receive all the time. But you know what? I take that and I walk with my head up and my shoulders back because I know I'm doing the work for the people. I'm on the right side of history. And if they want, they can come and meet me to my face. You come and stand on these steps and fight for the people this way. You show up and fight for the people the way that I have. You put your body on the line the way that I put my body on the line. And until you can do that, I suggest you take several seats.
Congresswoman, have you had police officers threaten you?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been in this fight for 7 years. I'm a Ferguson activist. That happened to us. That has happened to us. It's not just me. Ferguson Frontline, that has happened to us multiple. I mean, it's more times than we can count.
But even now, as a member of Congress, you've had police officers threaten your life.
I mean, and they're still people. And you know what the thing is? They can threaten my life, and I'm still working for them. I'm still going to work for them. I'm still going to make sure their families are taken care of, because I'm no respecter of persons. If you have a need, I'm going to take care of you, because that's my job. I love the people 100%. I don't care what your occupation is. I don't care if you like me at all. I'm still going to do the work to make sure that your family has clean water, clean air, health care, a place to live, and all of that, because that is who we have to be. Just love humanity.
But presumably, Congresswoman, I would hope that those, as you allege, those police officers would be removed, or at least you would let your security detail and the mechanisms in place in Congress to ensure that those officers are not still patrolling the streets. Well,
you know, work is being done. You know, there's nothing that comes in that is not being handled. So we're fine. We're fine. We'll keep moving.
Congresswoman, it sounds like you are handling things. As I was listening to you, I thought to myself, did she have any idea the challenges that she was facing when she took this job and decided to go to our nation's capital? I'm just sort of curious about your reaction to this. You know it's going to be a tough job, but it's something else to believe that your life is at risk.
Yeah, but it was a tough job being out on the streets of Ferguson for more than 400 days with real bullets and rubber bullets, with white supremacist threats, with being terrorized and tear gas and brutal assaults constantly, day after day, being heavily surveilled and harassed and intimidated over and over again. And that didn't just happen during the Ferguson uprising. It continued on for many years. So that was difficult. Standing before those tanks, that was difficult. Having guns in my face pointed at me, that was difficult. Watching my friends beaten and brutalized, that was difficult. So this is St. Louis prepared me for this. So I don't feel like this is so much worse than what I've dealt with all of this time. Shout out to the Ferguson activists who do not get exposure, where people don't know your story. I'm shouting you out right now. All of my St. Louis activists.
Congresswoman, I remember seeing you out in the streets of Ferguson back in 2014, and I remember thinking to myself that you were somebody who was taking it to the street, and I don't know if you, as Anne-Marie said, if you thought in your mind back then, as it was all unfolding, all the weeks and weeks and weeks that you spent out there protesting racial injustice, that you would one day put your hand on the Bible and take that oath of office. Did you imagine that?
Not at all. You could not. If you would have said that to me, because I had already said years before that I would never run for office. I would never, because my dad, Earl Bush, has been in politics for most of my life. And I saw a good man do great things. And I saw so much greed and corruption and just people trying to just damage his name. I was like, why would anybody want to do that? So no. But the moment called, the people called and asked me to do it. So I stepped up. But no, absolutely not.
Well, Congresswoman Cori Bush,
I know you were running out of time, and you've actually given us more time than we were allotted, but I just want to squeeze this in really quickly. You talk really passionate about some progressive issues, including policing. Can I ask you quickly about the special election in Ohio, the Democratic candidates who are running for the primary, the one that you back, the progressive candidate, did not win. I'm talking about Nina Turner. Instead, we have the candidate, Shontel Brown, that was backed by the Congressional Black Caucus, more moderate Democrats.
She was backed by some of the Progressive Black Caucus. She was backed by some of the Congressional Black Caucus.
There you go. Yeah. So a lot of people are reading a lot into this race, whether or not it indicates the direction of the Democratic Party. What's your takeaway?
No, it doesn't indicate anything. That was one election. It was a special election. Congratulations to Chantel Brown. You know, it was one election. It is an indicator of absolutely nothing. It was a special election where it was kind of a thing where we don't want any more people like Cori Bush. We want to keep, you know, and that's fine. We get to mobilize. This was a special election. Another election is coming up. There are more elections around the country. This did not hurt us at all. I spoke to my dear sister, Nina Turner, this morning, and she is doing great, you know, and at some point I'll get a chance to talk to Chantel and wish her congratulations. We're continuing to move. If you pay attention to the fact that it was progressives out here that just helped 11 million people stay in their homes and 6 million families stay in their homes. So progressives have power here. We're not backing down. And the other thing is this. I know who Nina Turner is. I know what she believes in. I know we need more people like that right here in Congress that are going to be the ones that not only say, I'll sit out here with you, I'll be with you, but the ones that have the instinct to go ahead and do the thing. So it's not over. There are more elections to come. My sister Amy Villela is coming up, you know, in Nevada, and so many others. This thing is happening. I'm looking forward to what's about to happen. No, so it's no indicator that progressives are not going to be able to win or at all. People tried to say that about me. I'm here.
You're here. Congresswoman Cori Bush,
Yes, you
thank
are.
you so much. Thank your team for letting us go a little bit over with you. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your supporters and your constituents will also appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.